What's going on, guys? It's Swim here, and in today's Warframe video, we are going to have a look at an underrated Kuva weapon, the Kuva Quartakk. In this video, we are going to have a look at everything that this weapon has to offer, and then I will be testing this weapon out in both the Simulacrum and Still Path. Before we get into it though, if you did enjoy this video, then please help me out by liking the video, sharing it around with your friends, and subscribe, as I do post a wide variety of videos every week. With that being said, let's get straight into it. Looking at the stats of this weapon, the Kuva Quartakk is an automatic rifle with a max magazine capacity of 88 bullets and has a 1.7 second reload speed. The Kuva Quartakk also has a base critical chance of 21%, while the critical multiplier is at 1.9 times. The status chance is also at 33%, and the weapon's primary damage output is impact, which with the new status rework temporarily causes enemies hit to flail backwards and stagger. The Kuva Quartakk also comes with a unique trait which can switch the weapon's rate of fire. When aiming down sights and firing this weapon, the Kuva Quartakk will fire 4 projectiles at a time, while hip firing will switch the weapon into an automatic state. Since this is also a Kuva weapon, I chose Toxin as my bonus element, but you can choose any other element that you want. The first build we have is a viral and hunter munitions setup. Starting off, we have Galvanized Chamber for the plus 80% multi-shot and on kill plus 30% multi-shot for 20 seconds. Moving on, we are also using Hunter Munitions for a 30% chance to apply slash on critical hits. We then have Galvanized Scope, which procs on headshots, giving us plus 120 critical chance while aiming for 12 seconds. And on headshot kills gives plus 40% critical chance for 12 seconds. We also have primed cryo rounds for 165% cold. Next up, we are using critical delay for the 200% critical chance and negative 20% fire rate. We are also using primed shred for the plus 55% fire rate and 2.2 punch through. Next up is rhyme rounds for the plus 60% cold and plus 60% status chance. The last mod we are using is Vital Sense for the 120% critical damage. When it comes to the arcane, I chose R5 primary deadhead. This arcane procs on precision headshot kills, giving us an extra 120% damage. For 24 seconds, that stacks up to 3 times. We also get some headshot multiplier and minus weapon recoil, which does help this weapon out. On the left hand side, we have a 63% critical chance and a 4.2 times crit multiplier with a 52.8% status chance. We are also dealing mainly viral damage, which does times 1.5 damage to the Orokin faction and increases damage done to health up to 325%. The last build I have for you is a cold and corrosive combo. Starting off, we have Galvanized Chamber for the plus 80% multi-shot and on kill plus 30% multi-shot for 20 seconds. Moving on, we are using High Voltage for the plus 60% electricity and plus 60% status chance. We then have Galvanized Scope, which procs on headshots, giving us plus 120 critical chance while aiming for 12 seconds. And on headshot kills gives plus 40% critical chance for 12 seconds. We also have Malignant Force for the plus 60% Toxin and plus 60% status chance. Next up, we are using Critical Delay for the 200% critical chance and negative 20% fire rate. We are also using Primed Shred for the plus 55% fire rate and 2.2 punch through. Next up is Rhyme Rounds for the plus 60% cold and plus 60% status chance. The last mod we are using is Vital Sense for the 120% critical damage. We're also using R5 primary deadhead again for the extra 120% damage. On the left hand side, we have a 63% critical chance and a 4.2 times crit multiplier with a 92.4% status chance. This time we are dealing mainly corrosive and cold damage. Corrosive does times 1.5 damage to the Grineer faction and temporarily removes up to 80% of the target's armor value. Cold causes enemies to have slower movement and can freeze enemies in place for 3 seconds. With that out of the way, let's head on over to the Simulacrum. We are now in the Simulacrum, and we are going to be testing both of these builds on level 160 Steel Path modified Corrupted Heavy Gunners. I will be testing both builds out with and without Warframe abilities to show you the minimum and maximum damage output. For now, let's focus on the Viral and Hunter Munitions build. The Kuva Quartakk is a really fun weapon to use because of the 2 alternate fire modes. If you aim down sights, then you will shoot 4 projectiles at a time that can be deadly with the added punch through from primed shred. You can also hip fire this weapon to switch to a fully automatic mode that can be pretty good at stacking slash damage. Now you might be tempted to forget about the burst mode entirely, but I would suggest that you incorporate both modes into your playstyle. Using the automatic mode to proc statuses while using the burst mode to amplify your damage will make this weapon so much more versatile. We are also using galvanized mods, so it will take some time to reach the maximum amount of damage that this build offers. Once the galvanized mods are built up, you can see the total amount of damage that we can deal. Here is some footage of the build in action with a few warframes that synergize well with this build. Now let's move on to the last build. We are versing the same level 160 Steel Path modified corrupted heavy gunners. This time we are focusing on the last build, which is a corrosive and cold build. When it comes to arcanes for the Kuva Quartakk, primary merciless and deadhead are your best options. Since we are using galvanized scope, we want to be aiming for the head to deal even more damage. Overall, this weapon is a decent upgrade to its predecessor, and with the bonus element from the Kuva Lich system, you can make some pretty good elemental combinations. I chose Toxin for the corrosive and viral combinations, but electricity and heat also work really well with this weapon. You definitely need to try this build out, just have a look at this damage. Here is some footage of the build in action with a few warframes that synergize well with this build. Now that the testing is out of the way, let's head on over to a Steel Path mission to see how this weapon performs. We are now in the Void on Mott Steel Path, of course, and let's see what this weapon is capable of. Overall, I think that the Kuva Quartakk is a really promising weapon, especially with the combination of the 2 different fire modes. The Kuva Quartakk could be improved slightly, but I think that what we got is really good. If this weapon had some more base fire rate and dealt primarily slash damage, then this would be an incredible weapon. With the main issues aside, this weapon can still tackle early game and basic Steel Path content, and if we were talking Rivens, then I would suggest to try to roll for either damage, multi-shot, critical damage, or fire rate. Alright, let's see how this weapon performs against an Acolyte. This time it is Malice. Alrighty guys, so that is the end of the video. I hope you all have enjoyed. Please let me know down below what you think of the Kuva Quartakk overall. As always, if you enjoyed this video, then please consider liking the video, sharing it around, and also subscribe to the channel, as I do post a wide variety of content every week. If there's anything I can improve on, then please let me know down below. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been Swim, guys. Later.